We have some audio issues going on in the first 7 minutes. We're missing Max. So if you have a skip silences, which I'd highly recommend no matter what, put that on. And there's probably some missed dialogue, but everything is fine after 7 minutes. Okay? And on with the show. Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 8, Episode 11, where we watch Game Change, Season 6, Episode 1, and I like this. It's getting me extra screen time. I'm Chris Lorenz.
I'm playing poker on my phone. This is Brian.
This is where Max introduces himself.
The only way to begin is the beginning. This is Noah Singer.
Ooh. Those were all quotes from the show we watched this week. But last week we watched The Family Stallone. We put a poll on Twitter, and you guys voted it a middle third show. So it seems like an all-around middle third show. You can tell us what you thought about this week's show on Twitter or X or whatever Elon wants to call it. Noah, what was that show?
Yeah. The game show where there's a new surprise premise every episode. Sam Reich hosts a game show with ever-changing rules and challenges. That's Game Changer on Dropout.
Never heard of it. What is Dropout?
So, Dropout seems to be the subscription video service spun out of College Humor.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
No. What?
Okay.
The dropouts of...
Oh, really? Wow.
Is College Humor still a thing?
I mean, I guess so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So it's called
this is how they're making
Dropout.
money.
It's called Dropout Connected Ventures. And then College Humor turned into, it seems like College Humor Media, CH Media. But chmedia.com, even though it comes up on Google, says that when you try to go there, there's a protocol error. Looks like the domain is not hosted anymore. So give you some insight into the media conglomerate of College Humor. Seems like it. Got to do more digging, but who knows?
Also, all right, so let's take a step back. So this show is essentially a panel show. So they have three people on a panel and a host, and the host gives like ridiculous things, and there's ridiculous rules, and it's really just a spotlight for the people on the show to be funny. It's like the idea of the show. And you might have seen this show on YouTube Shorts or TikTok. I've definitely seen a couple of bits of the show.
I've not.
I always wondered what the show was, but I never really cared enough to find out. But Max explains here why we are watching the show. Somebody recommended us watch it, but he'd only seen clips, and I thought that was funny. So... I mean, we're gonna get this. Might as well get this out of the way. I did not like this show. I didn't.
No.
My fiance had to leave. She left. She did not like the show.
Wow.
She left the room.
Wow.
I totally thought you were gonna like this because this is kind of. It reminds me a lot of Taskmaster, where people can be like a little bit ingenious about it.
I agree. Yeah, I think so too.
It does have a Taskmaster feel. The only problem is Taskmaster is funny. That's the difference.
I mean, I wouldn't say this is bad.
Well, so I thought that, and I watched. So we were linked to a Reddit thread that had what's the best episode, and season 1, episode 1 was on the list. So I was like, okay, and I watched The
Max
first
also
15 minutes
watched
of that,
season
and
1,
I'm
episode
like,
1 of the show.
just as bad. Yeah. I mean, at least the first episode. So this each episode is a gimmick, right? So this gimmick of this episode, which I think on paper sounds really good, is that you're trying to get second place. You're always trying to get second place. So they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Can you hold your breath for the longest?" And it's like, "Oh, who could stop? Who could like?" Once one person stops, you got to be the next person to stop, right? And you can't be the one that lasts the longest. And, on paper, I think that sounds interesting. But in practice, in the first segment of the show, one of the guys, Brennan, was just trying it out, not like trying to play this route for the middle. And that like ruins the show. Like it ruins the whole premise.
Well, but I mean, it goes back to like, what's the purpose of the show, right? I think it's just to give the comedians a platform to entertain.
I mean,
right?
Brennan,
Yeah. Like, I don't think that's bad,
I just think that it's an interesting like game theory to be like, oh, I got to be second, But that's not
It's
an interesting like comedian. That's not interesting comedy to be second.
I don't know. Like, I think it added a nice layer of strategy of like how they played the game. Like, I get they're not like trying to ball out on the comedy to that point, but I thought it made it enjoyable to see what they can come up with.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it was really a stretch to make things funny.
So the thing about a lot of the games they played is I think they would be interesting if done separately like they do in Taskmaster, but instead you can see what the previous person did and you can just do it slightly better or slightly worse than them. So,
Yeah.
I think and also I don't think if we've stated this that the game is different every episode. It's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the gimmick for this one was like you had to be middle, but the gimmick of the first one was like there was just a box saying that if you answered right or wrong. If you answered right, you got a point. So it's like,
Well,
that one was a little more interesting because I got to try to figure out what the box's rules were. Where there are some tasks where that's a thing, where like you're trying to figure out what the rules are, but that's just one task.
Chris, can I spoil episode 1 for you?
Sure, I'm not going to watch it.
The box was operated by all three of them's girlfriends in the back room, so like it would answer true or false to things that like nobody else would know.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So
That's a pretty good gimmick.
Yeah, but I agree that like the first 15 minutes, I was really like, I'm kind of over this. These questions aren't interesting. Maybe they, just figured it out later on. I'm gonna give one more episode a shot.
Oh, interesting. Oh. Might hold on to that subscription.
For all of 3 days.
Man, all in.
Yeah, they really give you a lot to check. They give you a lot of time to check this service out. 3 days.
I have a lot to say on Dropout, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like you probably don't need more than 3 days. Like, I actually think that's a shrewd business move, rather than like 7 days or 30 days.
I mean, 30 days is too much nowadays. You can watch a lot of stuff in 30 days.
Yeah, so
fuck
yeah.
businesses.
At least this seems like a small streaming service. It seems like it's related. It's trying to go after this D&D crowd. Are these people like famous in this D&D group?
They're most famous for Dimension 20, which Brendan Lee Mulligan runs on this network.
Okay. So you know what this is, Brian?
Yeah, I know about this. Like I have never really like tuned in, but I've known people who've like this and recommended it.
I've never listened to the podcast he's like famous for, but I have heard him in 8 episodes of another podcast, and it was like, why is this guy's voice so familiar?
Interesting. Yeah, so you guys are familiar.
This is.
I haven't heard.
So this is Brennan, right? So he's
Yeah.
one of the contestants on the show.
Oh, Brennan.
He was also a contestant in the first episode. Was Brennan? So he must be on like every episode.
He's pretty commonly on there, at least from what I could tell.
Yeah, Wikipedia has a good list.
So it definitely seems like the more you watch, the more you can like Brennan. You can be like in or out on his shenanigans more. 'Cause there's a lot of shenanigans. He was a shenaniganer.
Oh yeah.
Shenanigan.
So yeah, I mean, some of the games they play are like who can make the loudest sound on a
I've got them
gong,
all written down.
do
I'm
it
not
up.
sure it's useful to go over all of them, but
What was your favorite, Chris?
I did enjoy the Lord of the Rings, the betting.
It's Price is
okay.
Right rules. So yeah,
that one
the-
didn't. Which so there was a second edition Lord of the Rings, and they had to bet on how much money it was worth, and there was no like mid shenaniganery in this. It was just like they kind of just bid whatever they wanted to bid, and the second closest person won the second edition Lord of the Rings edition or whatever. So I don't know. I thought it was to me it was interesting because the person that won it didn't want it at all, and the person that got it like third really wanted this thing. So that was kind of fun.
Yep. I really enjoyed Who Will Venmo Katie the Most Money?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. That was really good. So I was wondering how much money she just got, not for the contestants.
I don't know that Dropout pays that well.
Like, no, I mean, like, because you could have scanned the QR code on the screen,
Oh, that's a great point.
right?
I don't
Like,
know.
wonder,
All right.
like, I'm kind of curious how much she just got.
But you can also charge her for stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one did that, actually. When I was watching it, I really thought someone was going to put a request in.
So let's go over the other contestants. We got Oscar Montoya,
Mm-hmm.
and we got Brennan. We've already gone over, and we got
Yeah.
Allie
Mm-hmm.
is his name. I have no idea who those people are.
No.
But then we got Sam, the host. He's always the host.
I'm sure Noah has looked up Sam, but I have some lore if he hasn't.
No, I'm not familiar about Sam. I mean,
He is the CEO of Dropout and also, I think,
Right.
College Humor back in the day. Like, he's been there from the start.
so I think you missed a preamble to show Max who went over that he's the CEO.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was having connectivity issues.
Yeah, no
I
problem. I didn't know
also-
he was going to start.
The only other thing to note about him is his father was 4'11".
Oh,
Like,
wait,
he was-
so his
he was a short
father
king.
is- Oh, but his dad is Robert Reich.
Yeah, he was like finance secretary or some shit.
Secretary of Labor for Bill Clinton. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big deal. Yeah, and he's a pretty known like political
Economist.
influencer. Yeah, like he's
Wait, so you're expecting me and the audience to be like, "Oh, his father's Rob Reich,"
Yes,
and to know who that is?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
I definitely like I saw that and I was like, that name is famous. I can't really say why, but I've definitely read it before.
Tweet at me if you know who Rob Reich is.
He's the Madeline
Before this-
Albright of economics.
Brian, have you heard of this person? Brian, you're too
I have
quick.
not. No, I haven't
See?
heard of this person.
Brian,
Something.
you gotta back me up here. You can't be
I'm
sitting
backing
there
you up.
with-
Come on.
You gotta back me up.
Oh. Well, yeah, I'll back you up, and then I might also let you fall into a hole sometimes. Tough love.
Yeah, I know, but if you can back me up.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the people. Brennan, I think was the funniest person on the show. Like he was really annoyed at the mid challenge, and like in the beginning he was just like so annoyed at it that I thought it was kind of funny. He had some funny moments in the show, which we can kind of go over. Like the first challenge was, can you hit a gong the loudest? And no one knew what the rules were, so he went and like got like a pole and like
Yeah.
created some leverage to get this gong, like really hit this gong.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was pretty funny, and I was kind of annoyed that the challenges on the show are now not for him to like ball out.
Right. If the rest of the show were just like stuff like the first challenge and you just had to do really well and think outside the box, I'd be kind of in. Like it's rapid fire Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Like if
I
it was
really-
like a pattern for who
Yeah.
won, if it was like first, second, third, first, second, third, or like something like that where they could maybe eventually figure it out by the end, but like create some like randomness instead of just always being second. I don't know.
I like that they have to figure out the challenge and then stick to that.
But
I
they
actually
figured it out
think-
after the first challenge.
Yeah, I admittedly like this is a simple one. It has depth to it if all the contestants were trying to be funny and try, but I don't think that two of the contestants were actually trying to be funny. Like I cannot tell you a single thing that they've done that they're funny, but Brennan was the highlight for me.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
That's a good point, Brian. For a show that highlights comedians, I could not tell you a single thing that Oscar or Allie did that was funny.
Yep. And to me, that was the whole thing. We didn't know them either. So I don't know. That I think was the key reason why this episode maybe didn't resonate.
Allie did something funny, which was texting CVS.
Oh, that was kind of good. Okay.
Yeah,
Never mind.
but that was funny. But the thing is to get somebody to text you the second.
I know. So like,
So,
they
like-
knew they weren't gonna win.
This is where this like whole comedian but game show thing like really falls on its face because it's like I want you to want to win, but I also want you to be entertaining, but sometimes those things don't correlate, and I don't know, I get really confused if they're trying like what to do here.
But like, if anything, it just makes me appreciate Taskmaster that much more. Like, what's his face? Who's the host? Not Alex.
Greg Davies.
Yeah, Greg always gives bonus points if he thinks somebody did something in a funny way, and like that
Yeah.
works.
Yep, exactly. I like that. Like it keeps the levity of the show for me on just know the points don't matter. Like this is just about shits and giggles, and I think that's good.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like whose line is it anyway? It's just hey, we're here to have fun. But then also on that show, everybody's trying to have fun and not really win. Where two of these contestants were trying to win, it seemed.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know. There's a reason why I watch Taskmaster and none of the other panel shows. Because I find Taskmaster funny, because it's kind of a panel show, kind of not. And this is very much a panel show.
Very much.
Let's see. The second challenge was balloon in the air the longest.
Boring.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
You just
boring.
gotta slam it down the moment you see one hit the floor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could have most push-ups was next.
That guy got a lot of not the middle guy, the one who thought he could do 4 and he ended up pulling out 14. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe he was just lying. Like, this is where the game theory would have been interesting. Like, if they went more into, like, ooh, I'm going to say 4, but I can really do more. Or I'm going to say I'm going to give 100, but, like, what are the other people going to say? So I'm going to try to, like, they just, like, didn't do it. And then they weren't funny. And they're like, I'm just like,
Yeah,
But, like, do
they
one
could
or
have
the
made
other.
it worth our time, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Then there was a pie eating contest where Brenner was just like, I'm going to eat the most pie.
See,
It
that was
was-
it
just
was
tried to
funny
eat the
to
most-
lose.
Yeah, kind of. I just think it was too over the top, like outside the game, that I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
You're playing the game. The game is not to eat the most; it's to eat the second most. And he was playing to eat the most, and that just like didn't work with me.
Yep. Agreed.
At least he did it with no safety goggles. Risk it all.
One that I unexpectedly really liked, again due to Brennan, is the Donald Trump impression. where you have to give the best Donald Trump impression. So the first guy gives like a pretty bad one. The second guy is Brennan, and he gives like the worst possible one, and it's hard to thread that needle between bad and worst.
I hated
Yeah.
this challenge. Like, what does
Oh.
that mean to give the second worst Trump impression?
It was pretty obvious from the 3 entries which one was deserving.
It was kind of funny how clear that was. So.
But yeah, you get the gist of the show. Were there any other standout challenges that we are worth mentioning?
I like the one.
Oh, deal or no deal. Excuse me. They play a full game of deal or no deal where you want to get the middleest possible choice.
Which all of them just went to the end and got whatever one they would get at the end.
Yeah,
so you
that
might
was
as
a
well
little
not even play.
confusing. Yeah,
it
that
was a
little
great
weird.
it was a great reminder of how boring Deal or No Deal Island was.
Yes. The worst. The worst.
They got a they got a real Deal or No Deal model for it though, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely a nice touch.
I just want to take a step back here, and you look at Taskmaster, and you see like they setting up these challenges, and like the challenges are like designed in a way where you can be funny. And generally, they're like, do this thing, but to do this thing, you got to be ridiculous or whatever.
Mhm.
If you've seen Taskmaster, you know what I mean. But like, how is somebody supposed to be funny in Deal or No Deal?
That's a great question.
What kind of platform are you? Like, you can't just like, hey, go out, give a model, give me your best 5-minute monologue or whatever. Like, that's not funny. Like, you're supposed to set these people up to be funny.
Yeah, so you're really digging at Sam Reich. Like, he's not teeing him up well.
I'm not saying. I mean, it's just the production of the show. Like, you're not teeing these people up to be funny. Like, you're just not. You're not good enough. This is not good enough.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the platform's definitely not as good as who put it on. Who's on is it anyway? Or Taskmaster.
Like, I think one of the more interesting challenges was like the dance challenge. There was some sort of dancing where they had to dance together. But like, what does it mean to be the second worst dance group? Like, I just like I'm so confused.
It's objective. That's fine.
What does that mean? And how do you make like they did make it funny? There was a pretty funny like somebody like tackled him or like Brenner tackled the one guy to stop dancing or something.
Dancing is
a sin. That was funny.
Man,
but is that trying to win the challenge? Like, I don't know.
I didn't. Well, no, he was doing it to seal his fate as one of the winners, which was good game theory. Man, I did not realize while watching the show just how much he carried it, but he really did.
Oh yeah, he's the only one.
Yeah.
Let's see what other. The second favorite fast food deal. What's that game show?
Family Feud.
Family Feud. That was kind of interesting because it was like instead of the first, they picked the second. They asked for their second favorite fast food item, and then you won for being the second. And French fries was not on the board.
So that was first.
Presumably because that was first.
Yeah.
But there's no way no one put French fries as their second favorite.
Yeah, it was. That was a little confusing. And then sushi.
So I think.
What?
Yeah. Well, and how is like Chinese food?
Sushi. No, Panda Express.
Chinese food. But is that an item?
It's probably like they got 3 entries that said like Panda Express orange chicken, Panda Express fried rice, and they were like, I don't know, Chinese food.
It's just like that was also like Brennan was funny during that segment, and but like the other two were just like chicken.
Burgers. Yeah, shit. Boring.
Like you want to be, you got to be the ridiculous person on Family Feud. You can't be like the normal people on Family Feud.
Yeah.
Pork loin.
Yeah. The random game shows didn't set them up.
And like the last challenge was forfeit the most points. So 1% at 18 points, 1% at 15 points, and 1% at 12 points. Everyone knew the winner was going to be the one that had the second most points. So I don't know why, like, no one really shot for a second. Like, I don't understand. The first person with 18 put 3 points down. I'm like, what's that going to do to you? That's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to tie for first.
Yeah.
Which is what happened. And if you had the second most points, you wouldn't lose any points.
There was so much
Right.
game theory at this part that I couldn't think of it, because you would only lose the points if you were the winner, that is to say the middleist.
No, you would only you wouldn't lose points if you were the middleist.
Oh no, I thought it was the opposite. I could be
No.
wrong. I don't remember.
You were wrong. You were wrong. Because the middleist here was 0, and they obviously didn't lose points. The second, so person with 15 points wrote 0, and Brenner, being actually funny, wrote negative infinity because he thought they were
Yes.
stupid, along with everyone else watching the show. And so he didn't lose. He obviously he got disqualified apparently, or he has negative infinity. But that would also categorically put him in second place. So Brenner won. So I don't know if it was like a, you know, they had earpieces in or something. It's like, hey, maybe you should like try to let Brenner win because that'd be funny because he's funny and you're not funny.
But also, there's nothing to get if they win or lose.
They got like a trophy.
I think
Didn't
it's
you
true.
get the second place trophy? And he was like, had to go to a pedestal. It was kind of funny. Like, it was one of the funnier segments of the whole show. Was him winning, quote unquote, winning second place.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty much the episode. We didn't talk about a least flattering selfie. Which,
Oh, yeah, I kind of like that one. Brennan also made it funny versus like actually trying to win. So
no, I appreciate the people trying to win in that one. Like, what is the second? What is going to be like the second worst selfie? Is it an interesting idea that you could kind of come up with? But like, and I like that. Like, if all the challenges were similar to that, maybe I'd like the show. Like, I just don't think a lot of these challenges were thought out very well. And
No.
hence the production of the show. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyone else have any other minutia they want to get into?
The minutiae. Now, there wasn't like a lot of minutiae. Like, this is something weird about this show. Like, I found it. The speed of the show is really good. Like, they're moving, which is really nice compared to a lot of other shows we watch. But I found that it was kind of shallow, right? There's not really good minutia to pull out of it. It's just kind of like constant.
breadth, but not depth.
Yes.
Definitely 2/3 of the way through the show is like, oh, I got to start writing down a quip or I'm not going to have anything. I just wasn't thinking about it.
Right, there's like nothing to write about. You're not really getting depth of character. The game is obviously nonsense. There's nothing like to take away from the game beyond it's kind of clever to go for second place. So I actually think it makes for pretty poor like podcasting content compared to some shows that are hot garbage, and it makes for great podcasting content because like there's so much minutia.
But I do think this show's hot garbage.
I don't think it's hot garbage. Like I can see maybe
disagree.
cold garbage, but even that I find it.
I disagree. I could go
Chris.
through each one of these challenges and say what I hated about H1.
I don't think I've seen Chris so mad about a show in quite some time.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
Well, should we get to ratings?
Oh no!
Or do we have some other
we should
questions?
do some questions.
Hit
The
me up.
main question I have here is, would the show be better as a TikTok or a Quibi?
Yes.
And I think 100% the show's better as TikTok. Not a question. Take the best
I-
clips from the show, which they've done in the past. I don't know if they do, but that's the best way to watch the show.
Agreed.
Like 5 TikToks, good to go. Maybe a Quibi. I don't know. I doubt it. We need some drinking rules, I think, for this one. When you figure out what the rules are, take some drinks. You know, if it was like this one, you know, it's easy. Just take a drink. But if it's like the first one where like you really had to think about it and didn't really know, and you're like, oh, that's it. Take many drinks. Noah, you got a drinking rule for us?
Every time the show reminds you of Kramer's apartment, take a drink.
Oh yeah, okay.
Brian, what do you got for me?
Every time Brennan is angry, take a drink.
Max, you got a drinking rule?
I got 2. Every time you drink one of your beers past its midway point, take a shot.
Okay.
And the other one, what was it? It was a better one. Man, I already lost it. What the fuck?
If it's anything but like this episode, anytime you laugh, take a drink. You could still be sober. I don't know.
Damn.
All right. Is this the apex for the host?
I have one. Oh, no. Wait, no. I got a drink.
Okay. Give it to us.
So, yeah. There we go. Every time you go number 2 while watching the show, take 2 drinks because finishing second is best.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
I
tried
no
to come up with
idea
something.
what to say
Like,
about
I was trying to come up with something about like second, and it was really hard to think about that. And so I was thinking about like there could be like a pun on the word second. So like every time you count the seconds, take a second drink. But I don't know.
Oh, actually, I have a really good one.
Okay.
Every time you Venmo somebody named Katie, take a drink. Sorry, Brian.
Damn, that's cold.
Why wouldn't Brian want Katie getting Venmo?
You guys
What
are
is
like
wrong with
you guys are like so hyper focused on this episode.
But,
Yeah.
Nobody else watched other episodes
That's the
except
only
me.
show I've watched.
I did.
And Chris.
But you know,
Why
you
wouldn't I
could
be hyper?
see, you know what the show's gonna be. Anyway, is this the apex for our host Sam here?
I feel like Head of College Humor back in the
No.
day, like, may have been a higher high.
But were they actually hosting anything at that point?
Yeah, like I didn't know this guy.
Yeah.
I know this guy from this show, from clips on YouTube.
Maybe that.
That's how I know this guy. But I wouldn't know him any other way.
I mean, being
So
a
I
CEO
think
of a
this
company,
is his apex.
I think is apex. Nah, I think being a CEO of a company, like, that's like hard.
Yeah, but is that like, are you talking about just like the entertainment career, or just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
we're
we never
talking
like really
entertainment
compared like
career,
any of their
Noah.
other stuff?
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
We're not talking their like life accomplishments. Like, what do we know?
I think of life accomplishments. I mean,
Like, they're having a kid. I don't know. Like, is that what I'm going to say every
Oh
week?
man,
Getting married,
could be. I mean,
not dying on the Titanic or something. Like, what are we going to say?
I think we can keep it to like we can keep it to professional accomplishments. Like that's like
you gotta
that's
look
like
up.
the
Gotta look up their LinkedIn every week. See if they're,
Right.
they have a doctorate degree or something.
could be. Yeah, Yeah, I
All
feel
right,
pretty good about my answer.
what speed? What speed did Max watch this show at? I'm gonna go with
1.5.
regular speed.
Brian, any guesses?
Man, I think I'm gonna do 2x.
Sorry guys, it was 1.0. Chris is correct.
Oh,
Woo!
Wow.
Does that mean that Max won or Noah won because he was second
No,
place?
Noah won. That's correct.
Yeah.
All right. What do you love about the show, Brian?
I do like this fast-paced humor. It just keeps moving. There's no like sitting around. Even if like one was bad, then just moves on to the next one.
Noah, what do you love about the show?
I do like it's quick on its feet, right? Like they don't take themselves too seriously. They're moving on. And yeah, I mean, as we talked about, like this is very bite-sizable. You know, I think you slap this into TikToks, you're getting like a good 40-second chunk. I think that's really good. So yeah, I like that they're serving up the full meal that can be taken in doggy bags and enjoyed a little bit later.
Max, what do you got for me? What do you love about it?
I liked Brennan Lee Mulligan. Any other questions?
We'll get to the next question.
I'm joking.
I love the concept of the show. I love the idea of giving comedians a platform to be funny. I just think that you got to get better comedians and better production on the show. I'm sorry. So that's what I love about the show. So we'll end our segment here with ratings. So we do a stack ranking system between top, middle, and bottom third. Noah, what's your ranking?
Yeah, I'm putting this in middle. It's a solid middle show. Like, there's not much I want to go for, but despite I think like the sentiment I'm getting from the pod, like I didn't hate myself for watching this. And some of the reality shows I'm watching, I hate myself, or it's just like bad to watch. And I didn't feel that way about this. But there's not much drawing me back in for more because again, like it's so non-sequential that like there's just so much more content I prefer to watch. So middle.
Brian, what do you got for me?
I'm gonna go top of the middle. I liked some aspects of this where it's like people can fuck around, whatever, and when people are actually trying to be funny, it's good. I don't think we got like a really good episode, but I've seen like enough clips to be like, oh, I wanted to check that out. Oh, it's part of a random streaming service, and maybe I should just sign up for another one.
Max, what do you got for me?
Don't shoot the messenger. Not that that applies in this situation. I'm going to say middle third, top of the middle. I think we just chose a bad draw for episode / episodes.
Ooh.
And it has promise, but I do agree it might be better as a Quibi TikTok.
Maybe, and then we just consume it like that from now on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put this at the bottom. Obviously, I think the show is not good. I think you're not funny. It has promise, though. So if somebody said, hey, this episode's like a million times better than other episodes, I'd watch it. I tried to give another shot. Didn't win. So like, not paying money to watch this. If it was free, there's a possibility of trying it again. But at this point, it's not happening. So bottom third it is. Tell us what you thought about this show on Twitter at Who Put This On. Tell us if there's another episode we should be watching. I don't know. Let us know. Tell us one that's actually funny. And, you could change our minds. So now we do shout outs of other stuff we've been watching, playing, doing, this weekend was really nice in Seattle where most of us are. Sorry, Max. It was like summer. It was crazy.
Oh yeah,
So
no,
hopefully
we had some summer
outside.
last week. Is it
Not
back to
70
shitty?
degrees
It's back to
summer.
shitty for us.
Yeah, it's back to shitty. My only shout out this week is Shogun. You should be watching Shogun. It's very good prestige TV based on a book. It's very good. It's There's a lot of Japanese. It's kind of slow, but kind of fast. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, but not. So that's what I'm going to give you. Brian, got any shout outs?
I've been pretty busy, so I've been like consuming just silly YouTube content. I've been getting more into Game Grumps. Like they're fulfilling my need to like play a video game by just watching it. And yeah, hopefully like this week I'll have more time for different TV. I also enjoyed the nice weather this weekend.
Noah, what do you got for me? Any shout outs?
I do got shouts outs. So revisionist history. Probably shouted out before. I think on season 8 or 9, Malcolm Gladwell's podcast. It's not new, but he did a 6-part series on guns in America. And as Malcolm does, like radically changed my knowledge and how I think about guns. So I could not recommend it more highly.
Max, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I really struggled to get through The Bear season 1. I originally watched like 6 out of 8 episodes a year ago. I rewatched season 6 like 6 months ago. I finally watched 6, 7, 8 in the past week, and the payoff in the last episode of the season 8 is very good, and I'm intrigued to see where season 2 goes.
Yeah, Bear. Love the Bear. Definitely one of the best shows in the last year, 2 years.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's it for us this week. That's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter at whoputthison. You can find us on Facebook.com/whoputthison. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time.